Okay. We are almost live. Let's see if I can figure this all out. Will it work today? Okay, we are getting there. I'm going to share it in my group. Go live. Oh, still not live. Well, it's not letting me go live in my group again. Well, let me see. Maybe page. Let's see that one. Okay. It's being streamed to my page. Well, welcome. We are just about at the top of the hour. And let's see if I can open the chat here. We are figuring things out as we go along. The top of the hour. I'm Rosie Isla with the new Empowered You show. Let's see. I'm going to say welcome here to all of you. So welcome. And then I got to find the other chat. Where's the other chat? We're going to be starting in just a moment. Okay, so we got that going. Let's see where we are. Where is the other one? Let's see. I don't know how to find the Be Connected. Be Connected is hosting this. I don't know how to find the Be Connected chat. I don't know where that is. Well, we are learning. I can't see anybody in the chat here either. Where do we find the chat room? Let's see. Just chat there. Well, so far. Okay. That's why, you have to kind of practice these tools as you are discovering them. You can't just like, oh, it works first time. I hope you'll come on. Well, let's get started and maybe something will happen and I'll find where the chat is on the other chat. So again, I am Rosie Aiello, and this is the new Empowered You show. And it is held weekly. And it's being held weekly. You can see it live in Be Connected. This is a new platform. If you want to find out more information about that, you just message me, because this is the platform you want to be on. But today I want to talk to you about, the show is called The New Empowered You, and I want to talk about empowerment today, because it is a word used a lot. I've noticed, especially with women. Do men need to be empowered? They wouldn't call it that, right? Maybe confidence, but empowered? Yeah, that's not a word I have ever found that a man would even be attracted to. But that's okay, because I'm not talking to men. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to women. And I'm particularly talking to women, if you're like me, who've been in a relationship where they got really hurt in an abusive, controlling, toxic, narcissistic relationship. And then it's like, whoa, once you've been in one of those, and maybe sometimes it's been a parental as well, right? Or it was parental and then you just never got into a relationship. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what the meaning of empowerment really is, how you can get there, some of the thoughts that you have now, and the steps to empowerment. And I'm not somebody who pussyfoots around. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm going to just tell you like it is. So if you don't like that kind of a style, well then, maybe it's actually something for you to really pay attention to instead of just refrain from. It's what you need to pay attention to. So here is I was, just to give you a little bit of a background, I was in an abusive relationship for about 25-ish plus years. And I was married 18 years before I even knew I was in an abusive relationship. Yeah, go figure. I lived in the Middle East. I'm from California originally, but I moved there to be with my husband. And I didn't have the clues of what an abusive relationship was about. But I'm not going to talk about that part. I'm going to talk about what happened afterwards, what happened after I staged my international escape to save my young adult daughter and myself from that abuse. I'm going to talk about how to look forward in your life, because that's one of the things that I want to impress upon you. If nothing else, you don't hear another word, you don't even know what empowerment means, it's just nothing else. This is what I want you to pay attention to. I want you to look forward. I went through the time when I wanted revenge. I was angry. It's like, this is not right. This is not just. This is and it's all true. It's not. But there gets a point in your life where you have to decide whether you want to live in the past, have the past hold you and grip you and keep you there while time is ticking on, right? You have that choice, or you can decide, yes, it was all unfair. We don't have to deny that. Yes, it really happened. We don't have to deny any of that. But there comes a point when you need to decide, do I want to move forward in my life? Do I want to stop living the life I have? If I am not happy, if I don't have what I want in my life, if I am not creating what I like, if I am not in a loving, caring relationship, and that's what I want, then you need to listen to me. Just giving it to you straight up. You need to listen to me. I was like that. I was afraid. I was full of fear. I thought, if you have these thoughts too, let me tell you, all these thoughts came from my brain. They happen to match my clients' brains and people I've spoken to who've been in these relationships. And that's how it is. So the good news is that you're not alone. You think that maybe you're the only person who feels this way. You think, well, you may think, I've been so successful in everything else. Why did I get myself into this relationship? That's not a helpful question. Let me tell you that. It's just not helpful, because it did happen, but it had nothing to do with you. Sort of, kind of. It's not like you brought it on. But if it happened, let's move forward in your life. Let's not keep spending time spinning our wheels of why it happened and how you could have done something, different in that relationship. What you can do is do something new in your life now and create new relationships. So if you have the thought, or ever, maybe the feeling, sometimes we don't have the thought exactly, but we know what it means when it says, I'm not enough. I don't feel like I'm enough. You didn't feel enough in your relationship. I sure didn't. And I was put down all the time. So he made sure I didn't feel enough, right? And that's what happens. Maybe you don't feel lovable. I hear this all the time. I'm not lovable. Well, there's lots of definitions of lovable. But if you have that belief, I'm not lovable, well, then of course you're going to probably think, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. Or maybe you're going to think, I want to be alone the rest of my life. You might be thinking that because you're so afraid of men. I was like that. I wasn't so much I wanted to be, I didn't even get to the point of I'm going to be alone the rest of my life. I was too much in, I don't want any man. I'm so afraid to be with another man. I'm afraid they're going to hurt me. I'm going to be in another controlling relationship. It was all negative and all fear-based. It was all my fears of doing anything possible to not get into another relationship like that. I couldn't trust myself, right? So you may have that thought, I can't trust myself. I can't trust myself to make a right decision. I can't trust the guy. So lots of lack of trust. Again, it's coming from lack, from fear. of really the unknown and what's going to happen, because you know how deeply hurt, and but not just deeply hurt, how you just got twisted around, and how you started to doubt yourself, which created that lack of trust, and which created that lack of confidence, or just getting your confidence just sucked out of you. And you may think, I was so successful, or maybe you still are so successful in my business, in my work. How did this happen to me? Again, those kinds of thoughts, like something is wrong with you. Well, let me tell you, there is nothing wrong with you. You are a perfect human being. You just happened to get into a relationship that wasn't very healthy for you. So now that's why I want to make this as a segue into what is empowered. What does empowerment mean? I'm going to give you my definition. But for some of you, you may think, oh, another women's empowerment thing. Well, maybe it is, but maybe this time you'll hear what you need to hear. And that's what I'm a big advocate of, that you can hear what you need to hear. And it's going to come at the time that you need to hear it. And you may have heard the same thing over and over. It could have been a week ago, but today you're different. So I ask you, as I share these things, that you just keep an open mind. What am I going to receive? What am I going to hear? What is the one thought, the one thing that she might say that's going to change everything for me? And as long as you keep an open mind, you will receive. If your mind is closed, like I've heard this before, I don't know, I'm different. I'm different. She's special. This doesn't apply to me. Then it's going to close down your mind, and you won't hear what you need to hear to make the changes in your life. So let me explain my definition of empowerment. And it's very, very simple. You get to be you. That's it. You get to be you. You get to be 100% you, the real you, the authentic you. I remember when I first landed back in the United States, and I knew nothing about personal development. I knew nothing, pretty much nothing. I had an MBA in finance, but that does not help you with relationships, not intimate relationships. And I kept hearing, oh, be your authentic self. And I truly did not have a clue what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. Well, now I do. Big time, I know what it means. So being empowered means you get to be 100% you. The issue is, do you know who you are? I propose that your real self has been buried with lots and lots of layers over many, many, many years. And that's why finding that real authentic you, and if you were perplexed like me about what's the real you, this is why. You had family and society and maybe religion and school and teachers and the news and everybody else was defining how you should be. There was like no chance to really find the real you. Everyone was putting their opinions on top of you, towards you. So buried. Where, I don't know. Who am I? People have defined you. People define me. So you've been buried. And if you had a thought that, oh, well, I really like making people happy. I love I love being generous and things like that, which is fine. But there comes a point where you get so used to people pleasing, just saying yes when you really don't want to say yes, not knowing how to say no, right? That you just keep giving in. And let me tell you, every single time throughout all your years, every single time you have given in because you wanted to be liked, you wanted to be accepted, you wanted to be treated nicely, and you thought if you are nice to somebody, like, hey, I'm gonna give in, then they're gonna treat you nicely. But that didn't always work out, did it? So every time you give in, you give up a part of you. Every time you give in, you give up a part of you. And that's another way to get the real you buried over and over and over again. The real you was hidden. When you can't share your thoughts and opinions because you're afraid of how the other person is going to react, that's giving up the real you. That's another layer of being buried. And yes, you're doing it. Now, I'm not saying you're doing that consciously. You're not. And that's why it's so important to learn about this. That's why you're creating the results that you're creating. That's why you're not perhaps in a loving, caring relationship. That's why you're still holding on to the past and just can't even live your life. Your precious life that is ticking away because maybe you're blaming others. They blamed you. Now you're blaming others. You're throwing everything onto somebody else. So while it's important to acknowledge the past, that it did happen, that it was awful, that you didn't deserve any of that, it's also important to recognize and acknowledge that it is in the past. And there's nothing you can do to change the past except make a decision about how you're going to think about your past. And this is one of the key elements I do with my clients, helping them change how they think about their past. And that your past does not define you. Your past does not define you. You know what defines you? What you think of you. That's empowerment. What you think of you. So if you think, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, that's what you're going to create. Because those are just untrue thoughts that you just are hanging on to because you got used to them. Just like you got used to people pleasing, you got used to these unhealthy thoughts, these unhealthy habits that now are just kind of keeping you trapped in your life. And you feel a struggle. You feel like this is not feeling good. Why can't I have this? Why does she have that? Why has she created this? Why is she with somebody I'm not? Well, we can figure that out. So let me tell you, when you are in a healthy relationship where you're healthy with yourself, there's no proving. You don't have to prove yourself in a healthy relationship. Man, that was like my part-time job when I was married to my ex-husband. I was always having to prove myself. I had to do something to show that I was good enough for him, right? That I did it right. Like, look, see, check, I did it. I know how to do this, right? I was a top performer in my company. Why am I not a top performer in my relationship? Well, I don't have to perform in my relationship. So if you were performing, or if you're in one and you're still performing, I would take a look at that and ask yourself why. In healthy relationships, you don't need to do that. You get to be 100% you. You don't have to hide. You don't have to shut up. You get to voice your opinion. And being empowered, for some of you, does not mean that you're having power over somebody. No, we didn't want somebody to have power over us. We don't want to power over anybody. This is nothing about power over. This is just about power within, knowing within who you are and how you want to show up. So that leads to the question is like, who do you want to become? Who do you want to become? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up in this world? Forget about everybody else. How do you want to show up? Do you want to show up as somebody who's afraid to live this life? Do you want to show up as somebody who has fear with any kind of relationship? Do you want to show up not expressing and enjoying this life? I don't think so. You want just the opposite. You want to have joy in your life. You want to have, many of you want to have a loving, kind, caring, healthy partner, healthy relationship. Mine fills me every day. I live in joy, peace, love, and kindness every single day. I have, and I'm with the love of my life. I didn't even think about a love of my life when I first landed. Like I said, I couldn't even stand to look at another man or hear another man. Not real, on paper, on video, on anywhere on the internet. I didn't want to look at another man. But I created the steps because there came a time when it was like, yeah, I like the affection of a man, but I'm afraid. So do you want to be somebody who follows everybody else's lead? Just whatever they say to you, whatever they do to you, you just react because you don't have an opinion? You don't value yourself? Or do you want to be the leader of your own life? You know what you want to say yes to, and you know what you want to say no to. You know how to say yes, and you know how to say no. You know what's important to you, and you know what's not important to you. Those are the keys of learning how to become empowered. It's creating your life. And you might think, well, look, Rosie, you did your hair. I kind of did my hair. Does it look okay? You got that lipstick on. You were all together. Well, I did. I wanted to look nice for you. So yes, I did. And yes, I put lipstick on because I just look better that way. And I also like it. But I also like leading my life. And in my relationship, I don't have to hide who I am. I don't have to hide what my thoughts are or my opinions like I had to in my other relationship, my abusive relationship. If I gave an opinion, I would get a 2-hour lecture. I would be accused of not being a team player. I would just be put down left and right. So what did I do? I learned not to give an opinion. I lost myself because I just kept burying myself and not showing up because I wanted to create peace in the family, peace in the relationship. So I was doing backflips and twisting into a pretzel more than those gold medal gymnasts, let me tell you, to keep the relationship going. But I destroyed myself. So what else I want to share with you is that, and I used to believe this, you want to find your lost self, that person who got lost in that relationship. But I want to challenge you. You don't really want to find that lost person because that lost person really did get you there. You want to create a new empowered you, Which reminds me, I'm having this Saturday, September 25th, and I will have others, the New Empowered You Summit. It's a one-day summit live, and I have brought in amazing speakers. These are experts. They're women like you and me. They'll look polished on the outside. They'll have smiles on their face, but you know what? We're all human, and we've all gone through really horrendous experiences, but we came out the other side. So they're going to be sharing with you their strategies, because if you pick up a little bit here and a little bit there, it's going to make a change in your life, but only when you decide to. This is your decision to move forward or not. And if you say, but I don't know how, of course you don't know how. That's why I'm inviting you. That's why I would love to work with you, to support you, to show you how. The steps that I took to create the life that I have now. Living my life like I could have never guessed 10 years ago. It was just an impossible thought. But I want to make your impossible thoughts possible. I want you to start to believe in yourself. I want you to believe in the possibility that you can create a new empowered you, that you can create a productive and joyful life, that you can create and call in a kind, loving, respectful, caring man into your life. It's all possible. And attending the New Empowered You Summit, I'll put the links in the chat, is possible for you. And when you learn their keys, when you follow me and I share the steps, you'll see that it's possible. Just some of us, we just put our foot down and said, no more. No more am I living this life. I'm out of here. Escape 101. And no, I don't teach escape. People have asked me to do that, but that's not what I'm doing. You can go to the National Domestic Hotline or other domestic violence centers to help you to get out. I don't do that, but what I want to do, what's more important to me is I help you move forward because your life is so precious. You matter. And if you don't believe that yet, then believe me believing in you when I tell you that you matter, that you're lovable, that you're valuable, and nobody can take that away from you. The only one who takes it away from you is you and your thoughts and what you believe about yourself. That's why the New Empowered You, creating you, building you from the bottom up, so you can stand proud and tall with your shoulders back and know, this is the other thing I hear, well, no one will love the real me. Well, how do you know? To the contrary, they will love the new you. They will love the empowered you because you know why? It's you. You're not playing some game of hiding and trying to please. That is exhausting. You don't have to pretend anymore. You get to be you. It's relaxing. And they're going to see the fun-loving you that you really are. I was talking to a woman the other day. What a sweetheart. I mean, this woman has gone through incredible things. Being thrown out of her house, relationships, and doing the best she can to survive, making money. Her family and friends are against her. This is very typical, where you won't get support. But you know what? Through all of that, even though she's trying so hard, she writes music or poems, music. I think her poetry could be made to music. Maybe that's why. She paints. I mean, this woman is so full of talent. It's just amazing. It's part of her self-therapy, which is fabulous. But she's got so many skills that I don't know if anybody's going to ever find out. And that's how it is with you too. You are you're like a bud, like a flower bud. Now you're all tight, right? You're all closed up. And we just need to give you some sunshine and some water so you can start to open those petals. Open yourself. Yes, get a little bit vulnerable, maybe get a lot vulnerable, but not frivolously. Pretty soon, the bees will come around to get their nectar. And somebody will come by and smell how good you smell. And you're going to just be there, just shining and smiling so beautifully. because you're you. A rose doesn't try to be a daisy. It doesn't try to be a tulip. It loves being a rose. So love being a rose because that's who you are. You're a beautiful rose. And we're going to get you there. We're going to open you up and you're going to see all the beauty that really lies within you. So join me. I love to hear from you. I'm at the loveiskindnetwork.com. I have a wonderful guidebook for you of how to reach these steps. And I will briefly go over them right before we conclude here. Join me for the New Empowered You Summit to hear these brilliant women share their wisdom with you. And all it takes sometimes is just somebody to say the one thing that you need to hear at this moment for you to be able to just like, oh, okay, I can do it. So yes, you can do it. So let me just quickly run over the elements before we wrap up. So part of knowing the real you, getting to the authentic you, the 100% you, which is so much easier than pretending and hiding, is create a vision for yourself. Yeah, just create a vision for your future. And I help you with that. And discover what's really important to you. Incorporate daily self-care habits. You know, so many of us have just been put down. We were just exhausted. And we put everybody in front of us, before us. I would say most women weren't even on their to-do list. They weren't even on it. Everyone else was served but you. So this is a time to really take care of yourself because you got to be healthy inside and out to be able to show up in this world today. Learn to ask confidently for what you want. And when you learn to ask confidently, learning to receive with grace. Can you receive a thank you with grace? A simple thank you. How to overcome shame and guilt. This was such a huge one where I discussed the difference between them. Learn the power of self-compassion and self-kindness. This is module number 7, and such an important module. So you're not judging yourself, you're not criticizing yourself. Remember that first line, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy. All of those are just self-criticism. It's like, yeah, we've got to stop that. You've got to stop that kind of thinking and talking to yourself. Learning and how to uncover and find peace with all your emotions and feelings. This is so powerful. I want to say each one is the most powerful. This is definitely one of the top most powerful ones in the whole program. Heighten your intuition, which is a foundation also for your trust and confidence. Understanding healthy and unhealthy relationship traits or characteristics. I really didn't know what they were. I didn't identify them. I just assumed. It's like, I didn't know. You grow up thinking it's just normal. I mean, I didn't grow up in this kind of a family, but I mean, I know there's lots of families where they grow up, there's just lots of yelling and they think it's normal. It's not normal. Lots of yelling is not normal. It's not a sign of a healthy family. It doesn't mean people don't love each other. It doesn't mean they're not married for 50 years. But that is not a sign of a really healthy relationship. That was just a dynamic that they got into it and they made it work for themselves. But it's stressful yelling all the time, right? And hearing yelling. And the last one, really key to your foundation, is honoring yourself. Always honoring yourself. This is all about honoring yourself with healthy boundaries. So I want to thank you for being here, being part of this, the New Empowered Show, because you deserve to be empowered. It takes decisions. So you also deserve to be treated with kindness, my dear friend. And let me remind you that it starts by being kind to yourself. So have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day whenever you see this. And reach out to me at the Love is Kind Network. Grab your free guide And when you do, you'll start to get the invitations to the new Empower You Summit. Okay, take care and blessings to all. Okay. Let me see. Okay. We're going to stop the recording. And it's a wrap.